Have you ever wondered what happened to Monique, the powerhouse actress who once ruled Hollywood? Over the years, many talented black actors have found themselves pushed out of the spotlight, despite their undeniable talent and past successes. So, what's really happening behind the scenes? Today, we're diving into the reasons why Hollywood has seemingly turned its back on these 20 black actors. Let's kick off the list with Morris Chestnut. Who would have thought that Morris Chestnut, once a heartthrob adored by fans, would slowly fade from our screens after delivering such impactful performances? He burst onto the scene in Boys in the Hood, playing Ricky Baker, a role that had everyone talking. With his charming presence and soulful demeanor, he quickly became an actor you couldn't help but watch. Morris continued to shine, especially in romantic comedies like The Best Man franchise, where his good looks and smooth charisma had audiences swooning. But he was more than just a pretty face. His roles in dramas and series like Rosewood and Nurse Jackie proved he had serious acting chops. Yet, despite his undeniable talent, it seems like his star has dimmed. Now, lead roles are few and far between for Morris, with supporting roles and guest spots becoming the norm. Hollywood can be fickle, moving on quickly, and while Morris is still in the game, the spotlight just isn't on him like it used to be. Whether it's the rise of younger talent or changing tastes in the industry, it's tough to pinpoint exactly why he's no longer dominating the screen. But one thing's for sure, for those who remember his glory days, it's a mystery why Hollywood stopped casting him in the roles that made us fall in love with him in the first place. And now, on to number 2, Monique. The story of Monique is a powerful mix of triumph and struggle. This vibrant stand-up comedian first stole our hearts as the sassy Nikki Parker on the hit sitcom, The Parkers. Her infectious laughter and sharp wit quickly made her a beloved figure across the country, but it was her stunning performance in the 2009 film Precious that truly revealed the depth of her talent. Monique's portrayal of the abusive mother, Mary Lee Johnston, was nothing short of extraordinary. Her raw and fearless performance earned her a multitude of awards, including the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. This Oscar win should have propelled her to new heights in Hollywood, but instead, it marked the start of a challenging chapter in her career. Monique found herself in a bitter feud with major industry figures like Lee Daniels, Oprah Winfrey, and Tyler Perry. The conflict arose when she refused to do unpaid promotional work for Precious, insisting that if they wanted her to promote the film, they needed to pay her for her time. While her stance was understandable, it didn't sit well with the powers that be. The fallout was harsh. Monique claims she was blackballed from the industry, with Lee Daniels allegedly telling her as much. Roles began to dry up, leaving the once prominent actress on the sidelines. In an effort to express her frustration and set the record straight, Monique took to the stage, publicly calling out Lee, Tyler, and Oprah. While this was cathartic for her, it only further strained her relationships within Hollywood. The lack of substantial roles in recent years has been a stark contrast to the promising path her career once seemed to follow. It's heartbreaking to see such immense talent not getting the recognition it deserves. In a bid to mend fences and revive her career, Monique appeared on The Steve Harvey Show, where she had a candid, no-holds-barred conversation about her struggles in Hollywood. Steve recognized the injustice she faced and promised to help his fellow comedian. He offered to set up a meeting between Monique and the influential figures she had clashed with, hoping to clear the air and give her the chance to shine again. Number 3, Darius McCrary. Darius McCrary, forever remembered as Eddie Winslow from the beloved sitcom Family Matters, was once seen as a rising star in Hollywood. His role as the lovable older brother to Urkel won the hearts of viewers across America, making him a household name throughout the 1990s. As he transitioned into adulthood, Darius was eager to expand his horizons beyond his breakout role. He showed off his versatility with appearances in various projects, from the blockbuster Transformers to the popular soap opera The Young and the Restless. These roles hinted at a promising future in the entertainment industry, showcasing his ability to adapt to different genres. But the journey to sustained success in Hollywood is rarely smooth, and Darius faced his share of personal challenges. His off-screen struggles began to overshadow his professional achievements, marked by a series of divorces and legal issues that made headlines. The biggest blow came in 2015, when he ended up in jail over unpaid child support. Though he quickly settled the $5,500 debt just hours after his arrest, the damage to his reputation was already done. This incident marked a turning point in his career. The roles that once came easily began to dwindle, with major studios hesitant to cast him. The bright spotlight that once showcased his talent now highlighted his personal battles. In recent years, Darius has found himself in smaller budget productions and minor TV roles. The actor who once lit up our screens as the charming Eddie Winslow now grapples with finding his place in an industry that seems to have moved on without him. Yet, for those who remember the talent and charisma Darius brought to his roles, there's still a glimmer of hope. Many in the industry and his loyal fan base believe that, given the right opportunity, he could once again shine and remind us all why we fell in love with him in the first place. Number 4. Stacy Dash. Stacy Dash burst onto the Hollywood scene with her unforgettable role as Dionne Davenport in the 1995 cult classic Clueless. Her portrayal of the fashionable, quick-witted best friend won over audiences and critics alike, setting her up for what many thought would be a thriving career in entertainment. After the success of Clueless, Dash continued to shine in both film and television. Her natural charisma and strong presence led to a variety of roles that showcased her acting range, from romantic comedies to dramas. She proved time and again that she could hold her own across different genres. However, as her acting career progressed, Stacy began making headlines for reasons unrelated to her performances. She became increasingly vocal about her conservative political views, which often clashed with Hollywood's predominantly liberal environment. While many actors keep their political opinions to themselves, Dash took a bold approach, frequently commenting on controversial issues in the media. Her outspoken nature eventually overshadowed her work as an actress. The turning point came when she made several inflammatory statements, including a controversial call to end Black History Month and remarks about the transgender community that ignited outrage. These comments led to significant backlash and further isolation within the industry. As a result, roles became harder to come by, and even her position as a commentator on Fox News came to an end. The actress who once seemed destined for a long and successful career now found herself on the outside looking in. Today, Stacy's appearances on screen are rare, a stark contrast to the bright future that once awaited her. Number 5. Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson's journey through Hollywood has been nothing short of a roller coaster, filled with incredible highs and challenging lows. He kicked off his career in modeling and music, but it was his transition to acting that truly launched him into the spotlight. His breakout role came in the 2001 film Baby Boy, directed by John Singleton, where he delivered a raw and powerful performance as Joseph Summers. This role showcased his natural talent and hinted at the bright future ahead. But it was his part as Roman Pierce in the Fast and Furious franchise that really solidified his status in Hollywood. The blockbuster series gave him a global platform, allowing him to shine not just as an actor, but also as a charismatic presence on screen. As the franchise gained popularity, so did Tyrese's star power. Throughout his career, he juggled acting with music, releasing several successful R&B albums that demonstrated his versatility and helped him build a loyal fan base. However, despite these accomplishments, Tyrese has faced his fair share of challenges. In recent years, personal issues and controversies have started to overshadow his professional success. Public disputes with fellow actors, emotional outbursts on social media, and legal troubles have shifted how the industry views him. These struggles have noticeably affected his career trajectory. While he continues to be part of the Fast and Furious franchise, the frequency and significance of his roles outside of this series have dwindled, The once rising star now finds himself navigating a more uncertain path in Hollywood, reminding us that success can be a fragile thing. Number 6. Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett's story in Hollywood is a roller coaster of triumph and tragedy. He burst onto the scene as Jamal Lyon in Fox's hit show, Empire, where his powerful performance captured hearts and earned him critical acclaim. Smollett's character, a gay musician navigating the tough world of the music industry, struck a chord with audiences, showcasing his ability to bring rich, complex characters to life. His talent was recognized when he snagged an NAACP award for Outstanding New Artist, setting the stage for what seemed like a bright future in entertainment. When Smollett came out as gay on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, it only deepened his connection with fans. He quickly became a beacon of hope for LGBTQ+ youth, especially in the African American community. But in 2019, everything took a dramatic turn. What started as a shocking report of a hate crime against him spiraled into a tangled mess of allegations and investigations. Initially, the public rallied around Smollett, offering support and sympathy, but as the investigation unfolded, doubts began to creep in. The Chicago Police Department's findings ultimately led to a grand jury indictment for filing a false police report, turning the narrative upside down. Hollywood was rocked by the news, leaving many confused and stunned. The legal battles that followed were front-page news, and in 2022, Smollett was found guilty, receiving a sentence of 150 days in jail and hefty fines. This verdict didn't just have legal consequences, it shattered his career. In an industry where image is everything, Hollywood largely turned its back on Smollett. Studios and producers have been wary of associating with him, fearing backlash and negative publicity. Number 7. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard first captured the spotlight in 2005 with his breakout role in Hustle and Flow. He played DJ, a pimp with dreams of making it big as a rapper, a performance that earned him an Academy Award nomination and marked him as a serious talent in Hollywood. Riding that wave of success, Howard's career seemed to be on a fast track, landing roles in major films and eventually snagging a lead role in the hit series Empire. As Lucius Lyon, the cutthroat music mogul, Howard showcased his ability to mesmerize viewers with intense, layered performances. However, beneath the surface, his relationship with Hollywood began to sour. Rumors of clashes with producers started to circulate, painting a picture of an actor who was tough to work with. While disagreements are par for the course in the industry, these conflicts began to tarnish Howard's reputation. To complicate matters further, Howard's outspoken nature on a range of topics often landed him in hot water. His comments, from personal relationships to offbeat scientific theories, raised eyebrows and attracted scrutiny. One particularly eyebrow-raising moment came when he introduced a concept he called teriology, claiming he had developed a new way of understanding mathematics that could prove 1 × 1 = 2. These controversies, coupled with reports of his on-set difficulties, took a toll on Howard's career. Studios and producers, wary of potential drama and negative press, started to think twice about casting him in leading roles. Number 8. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was once a major force in Hollywood, but his dramatic fall from grace has left fans questioning his long absence from the big screen. His career hit its peak in the late 1990s and early 2000s, particularly with his iconic role as Blade, the vampire hunting superhero, in the trilogy that made him a household name. With his magnetic charm and undeniable talent, Snipes became a fan favorite and a box office sensation. But everything changed when legal troubles over tax evasion came crashing down on him. Between 1999 and 2004, Snipes raked in a staggering $37 million from various films. However, in a disastrous move, he didn't pay any taxes on that massive income. He even went so far as to submit $1.3 million worth of fraudulent forms to the IRS. When the IRS finally caught up with him, Snipes didn't back down. Instead of showing remorse, he defiantly claimed that the government had no right to tax him at all. This bold stance only deepened the troubles he faced. alienating him from authorities and worsening his situation. The repercussions were severe. Prosecutors viewed his actions as a deliberate attempt to cheat the government, and they pushed for the maximum penalty. The court agreed, sentencing Snipes to 3 years in prison, 1 year for each year he failed to file his taxes. This legal battle and subsequent imprisonment profoundly affected Snipes' career. The industry that once embraced him now viewed him as a liability. When he was finally released, he discovered that Hollywood had changed drastically. The roles that had once come to him so easily were now scarce, and the action genre he had dominated had moved on to new stars and fresh talent. During his time away, other actors filled the void he left behind, making it all the harder for Snipes to reclaim his place in the spotlight. What was once a shining career became a cautionary tale about the costs of poor choices and the unforgiving nature of fame. Number 9. Will Smith. Will Smith's fall from Hollywood's grace is a shocking story that has left fans reeling. For decades, he wasn't just a star. He was a cultural icon, celebrated for his charm, talent, and seemingly flawless public persona. From his breakout role as the Fresh Prince to blockbuster hits like Independence Day and Men in Black, Smith seemed untouchable at the top of the Hollywood ladder. But everything changed in an instant at the 2022 Academy Awards. In a jaw-dropping moment, Smith walked onto the stage and slapped comedian Chris Rock after Rock made a joke about Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. This act of violence, broadcast live to millions, sent shockwaves through the entertainment world and began to unravel the polished image Smith had worked so hard to maintain. The backlash was immediate and fierce. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences responded by banning Smith from attending any Academy events, including the Oscars, for the next 10 years. While this punishment didn't take away the Best Actor Oscar he won that night for King Richard, it sent a clear message about the seriousness of his actions. Following the slap, Hollywood, which had long supported Smith, started to turn its back. Projects that had been in the works with him were either cancelled or put on hold indefinitely. Producers and studios began to distance themselves from the actor, concerned about the potential fallout. Adding to the complexity were reports that Will and Jada had actually separated back in 2016, years before the Oscars incident. If true, this revelation cast Smith's behavior that night in a puzzling light, leaving many to question his true motivations. What once seemed like a fairy tale career had become a cautionary tale, reminding us all how quickly fame can fade when the unexpected happens. Number 10. Keshia Knight Pulliam. Keshia Knight Pulliam's journey in Hollywood is a bittersweet saga of early triumph, followed by the struggles of growing up in the spotlight. She won the hearts of audiences everywhere with her role as Rudy Huxtable on the beloved sitcom The Cosby Show. As the youngest member of the Huxtable family, Pulliam's precocious charm and natural talent made her a standout, earning her an Emmy nomination at just 6 years old. The Cosby Show wasn't just a popular series. It became a cultural landmark that dominated TV throughout the 1980s and early 90s. Rudy's character resonated deeply with young viewers, making Pulliam a central part of the show's appeal. But as is often the case with child stars, the shift to adult roles presented significant hurdles. When The Cosby Show wrapped up in 1992, Pulliam found herself at a crossroads. Instead of succumbing to the pressures that often plague young actors, Pulliam took a different path. She prioritized her education, attending Spelman College and earning a degree in sociology. However, when she returned to acting, she found the landscape had changed drastically. The roles available to her felt limited, often falling short of the prominence and quality she had enjoyed as Rudy. Despite her undeniable talent and the affection fans had for her, Pulliam faced difficulties finding substantial roles that showcased her abilities as an adult actress. This is a common struggle for former child stars, particularly those closely identified with a single iconic character. Casting directors and audiences often have a hard time seeing them as anything other than the roles that made them famous. For Pulliam, the shadow of Rudy Huxtable loomed large over her career. To make matters more complicated, the controversy surrounding Bill Cosby, the show's star and creator, cast a long shadow as well. As allegations of sexual misconduct emerged, the legacy of The Cosby Show was marred. While Pulliam was not implicated in any wrongdoing, the scandal created a ripple effect for everyone associated with the show, leading some producers to hesitate in casting her. Number 11. Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Washington's story is a dramatic arc of talent, success, and a heartbreaking fall from grace. Hailing from Texas, Washington had carved out a solid place for himself in Hollywood, especially with his role as Dr. Preston Burke on the hit medical drama Grey's Anatomy. His captivating performances were marked by a unique intensity and authenticity that set him apart from the crowd, earning him critical acclaim and a loyal fan base. His portrayal brought depth to his characters, making even the smallest roles unforgettable. It seemed like Washington was on track for a long and illustrious career in both television and film. But everything changed in an instant due to a moment of thoughtlessness. During a heated argument on set, Washington used a homophobic slur aimed at a co-worker. This outburst sent shockwaves through the entertainment world and immediately tarnished his reputation. The fallout grew even messier when, at a Golden Globe event, he not only denied using the slur, but repeated it, making matters worse and alienating colleagues and fans alike. The consequences were swift and brutal. Washington was let go from Grey's Anatomy, and the once open doors of Hollywood began to slam shut. His talent, which had once shone brightly, was overshadowed by the controversy, making producers and directors wary of working with him. In the years that followed, Washington has fought to regain his footing in the industry. While he's managed to land some roles, they've been far from the high-profile projects he once enjoyed. Number 12. Columbus Short. Columbus Short burst onto the Hollywood scene with electrifying performances in films like Cadillac Records and The Losers, showcasing a raw talent that seemed destined for greatness. His role as Harrison Wright on the hit political thriller Scandal further solidified his status as a rising star. Short's portrayal of the sharp-witted and morally complex lawyer became a standout, earning him critical acclaim and a growing fan base. However, behind the glitz and glamour, Short was battling personal issues that would soon catch up with him. The turning point came in 2014, during what should have been a simple family dinner with his in-laws. In a moment of uncontrolled rage, he physically assaulted a relative, an act that would send shockwaves through his life and career. The incident made headlines, casting a dark cloud over his once bright future. Faced with the fallout, the producers of Scandal made the tough call to write Short's character off the show. This departure from a hit series marked the beginning of a steep decline in his Hollywood prospects. Following the incident, Short became persona non grata in many circles, and the roles that had once come easily to him all but vanished. Producers and directors grew hesitant, wary of the potential controversy and liability that came with casting him. It was a heartbreaking fall from grace, especially considering Short's evident talent. Those who had worked with him praised his ability to bring depth and nuance to his characters, qualities that are both rare and invaluable in the acting world. Number 13. David Alan Grier. David Alan Grier's journey is a testament to versatility and talent in Hollywood. He first made waves as a cast member on the groundbreaking sketch comedy show In Living Color, where his knack for diving into a wide array of characters, combined with his impeccable comedic timing, made him a standout in a sea of talent. His work on the show opened doors in both television and film, allowing him to transition effortlessly between comedic and dramatic roles, a skill that few actors can claim. One of his standout performances came in The Woodsman, where he tackled complex themes with sensitivity and skill, showcasing his depth as an actor. However, as time went on, Greer faced the challenges of an evolving industry. The broad, character-driven comedy that had once been his bread and butter began to wane in popularity with both audiences and studio executives. The shift toward more grounded, realistic comedies left seasoned performers like Greer struggling to find their niche. With the industry increasingly focused on younger talent and fresh faces, experienced actors often found themselves overlooked for leading roles. Despite his undeniable talent and years of experience, Greer found himself more frequently cast in supporting roles or guest appearances. 14th, Halle Berry. Berry's journey in Hollywood has been a roller coaster of triumphs and setbacks. Early on, she shattered barriers by becoming the first African-American woman to win an Academy Award for Best Actress for her unforgettable performance in Monsters Ball. This achievement catapulted her to fame, and her role as Storm in the original X-Men solidified her status as a powerful action star. But then came Catwoman, a film that was supposed to be her comeback. Instead, it bombed at the box office and faced brutal reviews. This failure shifted the way the industry viewed her. Despite her undeniable talent, the dramatic roles she was once known for became harder to come by. Studios grew cautious, reluctant to take risks on an actress whose last major project didn't hit the mark. Berry's battle to reclaim her place in Hollywood was further complicated by ageism, a harsh reality for many women in the industry. As she moved into her 40s and 50s, the roles offered to her often lacked the depth and complexity that once defined her career. Yet she didn't let that stop her. Berry continued to pursue her passion, and her appearance in Kingsman: The Golden Circle reminded everyone of her incredible talent and screen presence. Even so, the path back to those leading roles that once defined her career remains a tough climb. But if her journey so far has shown us anything, it's that Halle Berry isn't one to back down from a challenge. Number 15. Nate Parker. His journey in Hollywood was one filled with promise and ambition. As a talented actor, screenwriter, producer, and director, he seemed on the brink of something extraordinary with his directorial debut, The Birth of a Nation. This film, which Parker both wrote and starred in, was a heartfelt project that highlighted Nat Turner's historic slave rebellion. When it premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, it received a thunderous standing ovation and glowing reviews. The excitement led to a fierce bidding war for distribution rights, ultimately resulting in a staggering $17.5 million deal, a clear sign that Parker was set to launch an impressive directorial career. But just as the film was gearing up for a wide release, shadows from Parker's past began to surface. Decades-old allegations of rape from his college days re-emerged despite him being acquitted at the time. This controversy cast a dark cloud over his promising film, and its impact was swift and severe. What was once considered an award contender saw its box office potential dive, as many who had supported the film suddenly distanced themselves from Parker. The fallout from this scandal extended well beyond The Birth of a Nation. It effectively put a halt to Parker's rising star in Hollywood. Roles became scarce, and opportunities to direct or produce dwindled. What began as a remarkable ascent transformed into a tough struggle for redemption and recognition in an industry that can be unforgiving. 16. CeeLo Green. CeeLo Green, known for his golden voice and larger-than-life personality, once had Hollywood wrapped around his finger. This singer-turned-TV star soared to the top of the charts, landing at number 2 on the Billboard list while charming fans as a coach on The Voice. It seemed like he could do no wrong until everything changed in an instant. In today's world, where a few careless tweets can derail a career, CeeLo learned this lesson the hard way. In a moment of poor judgment, he typed out thoughts that should have stayed in his head. Before long, his controversial comments about homophobia and assault were out there. spreading like wildfire across social media. The backlash was immediate and brutal. The Voice, once his second home, swiftly kicked him to the curb, and his TV project with Steve Harvey vanished just as quickly. It felt like someone had pressed mute on CeeLo's career. The man who once had audiences captivated now found himself performing for a much smaller crowd. Hollywood, always fickle and obsessed with image, had largely turned its back on him. The bright lights of primetime TV faded, leaving CeeLo to navigate the shadows of his former stardom. 17. Janet Hubert. Janet Hubert, the original Aunt Viv from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, was a true powerhouse. With her sass, class, and uncanny abilities to keep Will Smith in check with just a raised eyebrow, she brought pure magic to the screen for 3 unforgettable seasons. She was the aunt we all wished we had. But behind the scenes, things were far from fresh. Rumors of feuds and drama started swirling, and suddenly, without warning, Janet was out, replaced by a new Aunt Viv. The switch was so shocking that it became a running joke in pop culture. As the years went by, whispers about what really happened only grew louder. But Janet didn't just fade away. She spoke out, threw shade, and kept the feud alive long after the show ended. Her war of words with Will Smith became legendary, turning the drama into Hollywood lore. Unfortunately, this ongoing conflict painted Janet as difficult and troublesome. Hollywood, always wary of troublemakers, began to distance itself from her. Roles that should have come pouring in after her iconic turn as Aunt Viv slowed to a trickle and then dried up altogether. Now Janet Hubert finds herself on the outside looking in. The industry that once celebrated her vibrant talent now views her with caution. It's a sad turn for an actress who brought so much life to one of TV's most beloved characters. 18. Jason Mitchell. Jason Mitchell burst onto the scene like a supernova, bright, bold, and impossible to ignore. His electrifying performance as Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton earned him a Screen Actors Guild Award and had Hollywood bigwigs scrambling to cast him. When he landed a role in Kong, Skull Island, it seemed like the sky was the limit for this rising star. But just as quickly as Jason rose, he fell. His career, which had shot up like a bottle rocket, fizzled out even faster. Rumors of trouble started to swirl, and then came the bombshell. Allegations of sexual misconduct surfaced, with one of his co-stars admitting to feeling unsafe around him. In Hollywood, where image is everything, this was a devastating blow to Jason's budding career. As if that wasn't enough, 2020 threw another curveball his way. Police pulled over his SUV and found more than just a spare tire in the back, an AK-47 and marijuana. Not exactly the kind of props Hollywood wants its stars to be associated with. Jason's once promising future now hung in the balance, leaving him to reckon with the fallout of his actions. 19. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, the comedic genius who can make us laugh until we cry, has always marched to the beat of his own drum. When Comedy Central dangled a whopping $50 million in front of him, Dave did the unthinkable. He turned it down and hopped on a plane to Africa. This bold move left Hollywood scratching its head and fans wondering if they'd seen the last of their favorite funny man. But you can't keep a great comedian down. After a decade away, Dave made a spectacular return with a series of Netflix specials that reminded us all why we fell in love with his humor in the first place. It felt like he'd never left, effortlessly blending laughter with thought-provoking insights. Then came the controversial transgender jokes. Suddenly, the man who seemed untouchable found himself in the line of fire from activist groups. The backlash was fierce, with calls for boycotts and demands for apologies. Dave, true to his nature, refused to back down. He tried to engage with his critics, but what started as a conversation quickly escalated into a shouting match. Today, Dave Chappelle finds himself in a complicated position. He remains one of the most talented comedians of his generation, but the controversies have made him a risky bet for some in Hollywood. It's a strange place for a man who once ruled the comedy scene, leaving us all wondering what comes next. 20. Cuba Gooding Jr. Remember when Cuba Gooding Jr. had us all at hello? His iconic performance in Jerry Maguire became legendary, earning him an Oscar and launching him into the Hollywood stratosphere. From Boys and the Hood to Men of Honor, Cuba proved he was no one-hit wonder. But somewhere along the way, things took a sharp turn. The lovable goofball we adored began making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Whispers of inappropriate behavior escalated into serious allegations of misconduct. Suddenly, the man who once shouted, "Show me the money," found himself pleading for a lifeline in the murky waters of Hollywood scandal. Legal troubles piled up like a precarious tower of Jenga blocks, with each new accusation threatening to bring everything crashing down. The industry that once welcomed Cuba with open arms now kept him at a distance, wary of the fallout from being associated with him. The actor who used to light up the screen with his megawatt smile and boundless energy now finds himself lost in the Hollywood wilderness. The roles have dried up, the accolades have stopped, and a future that once seemed so bright now looks decidedly dim. It's a heartbreaking twist for a talent that once seemed destined for lasting greatness. Is there anyone you think we missed? Let us know in the comments.